Welcome to Extra presented by VDG Sports. I'm your host, Vince Douglas Gregory. No filter. Very censored. I think I should provide some counter programming for counterbalance and to just make sure things even out in the long run. And I'm not saying that everything's fair or there should be balance. Possibly not, depending on what perspective you're looking at it from, depending on the scenario. There are a lot of different caveats, and it's not a black and white answer. It's filled with gray. There's no universal truth on that matter. And I'll get to it and I'll hash it out. But before that, I still do think nice guys finish last. But that doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't be a good person. There's a difference. Noob that's still here, that survived everything previous, everything from the beginning, and you still here, go ahead and consider yourself a reg. Go ahead and consider yourself one of us. Go ahead and consider yourself part of the team. You just got to make sure you come back more often than not. Regs, we back at it again. And that includes you, noob, who just became a reg. We do what we do. This feels like every single day. But it's not every single day. It just feels that way. Why? Because we got a special, unique bond. Why? Sharing is caring. Hold up. But you shouldn't share everything. And we still don't know what to call this unique bond. We don't know how to address it. But some distant future person, some distant future cyborg, some distant future robot, some distant future algorithm, or you pick and you choose. I given many options. They will figure out what the call is, and we will retroactively say, this is what it always been. This is what it always will be. This is our history. This is who we are. This is who we are. Whether it's a month, whether it's a decade, or whether it is a century, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It does not matter how long it takes, because once we label it, once it become what it needs to become, that's what it would always will be. And that's how we will address it in the future and say this is what it was within the past. Now, I said I need to provide some counterbalance because I had an episode where not that kind of episode. Side note, but I had an episode where I basically told the truth about nice guys. You can agree or you can continue to lie to yourself about it. But we know what it is. You can go back and review the historical documents on that. It ain't too hard to find. It is fairly recent. I'm just going to give you a counterbalance to that programming. And it's not because I don't believe it, because I do. I'm going to give a little more nuance and counterbalance to that. Yeah, I do feel that way, but that doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't be a good person. That doesn't necessarily mean that you got to be bad and evil and just extremely hostile to others. And that's a suggestion from an observation. And I'll just give you my experience. I'll give you my modus operandi. I'll tell you how I move in situations like that, or how I would like to move in situations like that, or basically how I see things. And it's not black and white. It's not. It's more nuance and gray area. But there is there is a deep seated driving force that always comes about and comes afoot. I do try to be nice. I do try to be not a nice guy, but I do try to be humble. I do try, and that ain't a humble brag. Trust me. I'm not good at humble bragging. I couldn't do it if I couldn't do it if I wanted to. I might do it on not on purpose. I might do it by an unintended consequence, but it's not something that I try to do on purpose. Sometimes it happens. Majority of the time it doesn't. I don't operate that way. The thing is, it's not necessarily you have to be good. You have to insert, because everything ebbs and flows. Everything ebbs and flows, but for the majority of the time, I like to do something that makes me feel good. I like to do something that I deem is worthy of my time. And more times than not, more often than not, that is me being a better person. That is me treating someone how I will want to be treated, and more, assuming that the person isn't giving me an option or giving me a reason to be the bad guy. Because I'm not saying you have to turn your cheek so the other one can get slapped. If you don't like getting slapped, you know what to do. If you don't want that other cheek touch, you know what to do. But this is friendly advice. Free friendly advice. Baritone-like voice. Yeah. But that's just some free advice. It's not something that you should follow. It's just an observation. It's just how I see it. It's just what I do in certain situations like that. And I try to go above and beyond sometime. Most of the time, it may not happen, but that's what I shoot for. I shoot for above and beyond, and somewhere I fall in between above and beyond and okay. And that is just me treating someone like a human, not necessarily how I want to be treated, because that's above and beyond, or that's just the midway point. But treating someone like a human, it should be the bare minimum, not making someone feel less than. Should be the bare minimum, unless you got some deep-seated hate within you, unless you got some issues that you need to address yourself, unless you got some other reason. But once again, I'm not telling you what to do. Once again, I'm not judging, because this is a no judge zone. I'm just making an observation. I am making a clear-eyed observation with no rose-tinted glasses on. I don't. I have a pair, but that's mostly for sports. I have a pair, but that's mostly for sports, and I don't have them on right now. Just treating somebody like a human should be, well, that's my basic premise to start off. Basic thing to do. Am I treating X, Y, Z, whoever, like a human? Now, the next step, or the next thought process, or the next gut feeling reaction is, what am I doing to influence this person's life? And then, am I influencing this person's life in a positive way or a negative way? And if so, what control do I have over that? What can I possibly control? Will this affect me in such a way that it will impede on my happiness or impede on what I want to do? There's a lot of different factors, but I'm just mapping out a few, how I get to a certain point. And all of this is either instantaneously, or it's just how I just operate to begin with. You know what I mean? It's not something that I have to put a pen and paper to and have if then. I'm just making it almost like an if then playbook guide by going through it in my head and just thinking it out. But it's not something that requires that much thought. It's second nature. It's second nature. But the thing is, what can I possibly control to help someone out? Because I'm viewing this as, I don't know what this person is going through. I don't know what hardship this person has in life. I don't know if they BOOCing. That's balling out of control for my younger generation. BOOCing, balling out of control. I don't know if they BOOCing, or I don't know if they having a tough time and the next thing can make them snap. And I ain't talking about the show, but I'm talking about the stuff that go on in the show. I don't want that kind of I don't want that kind of responsibility. I don't want to be the factor that pushes someone past the point of no return. And if that is the case, pushing someone past the no return in a positive direction, or making them feel, yeah, human, wanted, cherished, valuable, unique, different, because we ain't robots. And I'm not trying to disrespect you robots. I'm just speaking the truth. We ain't the same. There are differences with us. There's different upbringings. There's different points of views. We can all get to the same point, but there's different ways that we get to that. And I find that interesting. I find that compelling. And just not even necessarily psychoanalyzing, because that's just too much on my plate. I'm already staying up late at night trying to figure out other things. I don't need to psychoanalyze people. I don't need that drama in my life. I don't need that stress on my plate. I don't need any of that. No, I do not. But I find it interesting how unique and different everyone is. And to be the one who, not necessarily going out of his or her way, but just providing a little relief from whatever to the next person, and just pushing that along, and just having that, or just knowing that that was the case. That's why I try to be a good person. That's what drives me to being a good person. That's what makes me feel good. That's another one of my happy places, is knowing that I did something that I can control to make someone else happy. It's not manipulation in the sense where that's what I need to do, or to eventually get them to do something that I want them to do. There's levels to that, yes, but it's the strangers. It's the people you don't know. Possibly could be people who you do know. But there isn't no timekeeping on this. There isn't no, hey, I'm writing this down in a notebook. I'm keeping a record of this because one day I'm going to call and ask for that favor. Is it out there? Yeah, it's out there. But that's not my operation. That's not how I see that. And that's not what makes me feel good. Knowing that there's a burden, however big or small, is lifted off of someone else. Knowing that for a brief second that there was a smile provided. Knowing that there was a break in the action of the life drama. That there was cool, calm. Those are the things that drive me to go above and beyond sometime, even though I fall short. Those are the things that drive me to treat people like human, to listen, to attempt to understand, and to do what I can that's not going to affect me in some kind of way, mostly negative. To do what I can to get to a point where, all right, something was lifted. There was a moment. There was insert whatever. That's what drives me. That's one of my other happy places. That's what makes me and say that I need to be a better version, or I am the good guy, or I want to be one of the good guys. And it's not to say that you can do this and not do the nice guy, or vice versa, or both, or what have you. Because I still stand behind the nice guys finish last. Because being a good person technically is not necessarily being a nice guy. Being a good person is driven by other motivations. I'm sure some crisscross over. But a nice guy's just got expectations, intentions, and just not willing, powerful, or strong enough to get those across. So they bend over backwards, they wave side to side, not standing up for anything. And so they basically falling for everything. But when you're a good person, how I see it, you know the end game, you know the goal, you know what you want to do. You have your courage of your convictions, and you stick with that, and you do that because ultimately it's who you are. You are a nice person, a good person. Not the nice guy looking for something and wanting for something, but just don't know how to get it or ask. Counterbalance. But I'll be the bad guy if I have to. You better believe that. Noobs, thank you. Really, really thank you. I appreciate it. Seriously. Be sure to check out the website, Xtra, VDGsports.com. Xtra, VDGsports.com. There's a YouTube as well. Xtra, VDG, Xtra, VDG. If you like sports or want sports in your life, check out VDG Sports. And on both, like, subscribe, share, basically do whatever it is you do there. Comment if you must, comment if you may. Like I say, I will clap back. I will clap back. I will clap back. I just made that up off the cuff. Well, this is what I say. Goodbye. Noobs that's still here. Regs. As I mentioned, I'm not that dude. I'm not that guy. So you ain't getting it, but I give you little drops and crumbs. Peace out.